guys, what's up with me? This is chapter 8 of RWBY volume 6, Dead End. So, I was a little bit spoiled for this, I think, like 3 major points were spoiled for me. Apparently, Jean's a bit of a dick to Oscar in this episode, which I kind of figured from the thumbnail and from the opening sequence. So, I have a feeling it's gonna be like, what do you mean we can't stop sailing? Blah, blah, blah. My girlfriend died for this, blah, 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 which is like, you're valid, but you know, there's other ways to express your emotions besides anger towards the 14-year-old boy who asked for none of this. Like, everyone's beating up Oscar, and it's like, hey, look, Ozpin's in his brain. I understand when I punch Ozpin, but Ozpin's in Oscar's brain. And his brain is in Oscar's physical body. You can't punch Ozpin without hurting Oscar. So maybe don't physically assault the small boy. I found out that there's apparently a bitchy Atlas lady that they're going to meet, who I'm assuming is the one who's like, oh, you're not allowed to enter, blah, 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 blah. But I saw someone tweeting about being a part of the cast for that. And then, I don't know if this is a thing. I think it's a thing, because I heard it, I saw it, like, consistently. Is a T-Rex Grimm. I think is in this episode. I'm not sure how that would be in this episode. I saw someone talking about it, and I think they mentioned it, like, on, like, a highlight, like, in trailer thing for RWBY Rewind. I don't remember where I saw it. I just remember seeing that. So, okay. Like, the T-Rex, the background T-Rex is, like, oh, the background dinosaur has always kind of been a thing for RWBY, but it's like, okay. So, I'm intrigued. I know I'm gonna want to probably slap Jean after last week where I was like, oh, you know, like, I do like his character, but, like, he gets a little much, and I have a feeling that my tolerance is gonna, like, be filled with this episode alone. But yeah, let's do this. I think there's probably another Genlock teaser. Mood.
This is how the war begins.
Yeah!
Interceptors 3 and 4 take Bogey's 2 o'clock, Angel 6.
Okay, Lindsay. Every show needs a spider mech.
This is not a skirmish. This is not airspace confusion. This is not a terrorist action.
This is war?
This is it.
Oh.
The Union's making their play.
God, I cannot wait for Genlock. Stay close, move fast. The darkness cannot last. Can we get a Renora kiss, please? Home, no path. Oh, we got a dream to catch, and we cannot wait. I'm really off today. Just the way we're made. The sparrow was born to fly. The mountains tower. The river knows to reach the sea. Rain will help the flowers be. We're the same, you and me. The mountain doesn't take advice from anyone. The river doesn't need to learn to stand. Yep, there it is. Seek, stay. Oh, hi, Taquito. A dream together someday soon. We'll rise in like the moon. If you eat my cord while I'm recording, I'm gonna shave you. I hope y'all can see her. She hates me. Oh boy.
Come on! You didn't even hear us out!
Our orders are clear. The Mistral Atlas border is closed. Please, have a good day. A good day!
I don't want to believe that I'm friends with Ironwood.
General Ironwood.
Yeah, General Ironwood. Then fine.
I
But
love
look,
them.
We have Weiss Schnee with us, and we're trying to get her home safely.
Approach!
Oh, Weiss. hats.
Very well. You may speak with our commanding officer. We will fetch her at once.
They were kind of...
Are they saying Atlas?
Yeah.
What's wrong?
Well, I may know this commanding officer.
Oh
That's
no.
good, isn't it? If she's your friend, then maybe
Friend's
she'd be
probably
more
a strong
willing to
word.
help us.
I wouldn't exactly call us friends.
Acquaintances?
Not quite.
Colleagues?
Former.
Enemies?
That's the one.
Wait, what?
Oh, yes, I come through here about once every 10 years to get my eyes checked up in Atlas. You bring outside cashews on one flight, and suddenly you're placed on the additional screening list for life.
That's such a mood.
Gotta be kidding me.
That's such a mood.
Now, let's not give up hope yet. Maybe
No.
she's dead.
Introducing Special Operative Caroline Cordovan!
Yeah, that's the person whose voice I was aware of. Small.
Witch. She-devil. I see you've chosen larger contraband to smuggle this time.
Oh, Cordo. You know, they say time changes people, but I see you've still got that stick right out.
Oh, Miss, Cordovan? My name
General.
is Ruby Rose, and I was wondering if you would hear us out about...
I've already heard what your other little friends had to say, Miss Rose. What are you doing back here? I thought I told you to leave!
And I told you we wouldn't rest until you let us through!
Nice to see you again as well.
You civilians are clearly incapable of comprehending the importance of our mission here in Argus. So allow me to say this slowly with smaller words. This base, that relay tower, the very safety of Argus are all gifts from the glorious kingdom of Atlas. And it is my duty to uphold
Oh,
them, as
Jesus.
only I have the wit and tenacity for such a task.
Such wit! Such tenacity!
Or maybe Atlas just wanted to get you as far from the kingdom as possible.
You're just like the rest of these Argus ingrates. This city wouldn't even be here if it weren't for our Elysian ancestors. And what do we get in return? The entire world is ready to put a knife to our throats.
Please, we know your kingdom had nothing to do with the fall of Beacon. We were there.
No one's happy about the Atlas borders or embargo, but I know General Ironwood is just worried. It's why we need to talk to
The general is no coward. Atlas is strong.
You can be
If all the
worried without being a
kingdoms plan to
coward.
Make us their enemy, then so be it. Atlas will prevail.
Atlas will prevail!
So I think it's pretty
You guys
clear.
seriously have to do that?
If Mishni has truly come to her senses and wishes to
Oh.
return to her family, then of course the Atlas military will escort her home. But
Alone.
the kingdom will not be responsible for her friends of questionable character.
Ooh.
What's that supposed to
Aw,
mean?
that little ear
It means
curl.
we're done here.
Blake.
Well, your base looks like a big dumb boot.
Way to
It
show
does.
her, Nora.
It does, though. She's right.
I don't...
Weiss, I told you we wouldn't leave your side for a second. We'll find a way to Atlas. Together.
Weiss's body language is so good here.
So, where are we going now?
Yeah, what's the plan?
Like her feet placement there. She was taking
The
up
plan?
as little space as
The
possible.
plan just got shut on our face 3 times over. I'm
Twice.
going for a drink.
How about an AA meeting?
Uncle Crow, I really think we should try and come up with something together.
What's his problem? It's not your fault we can't go on.
If he's gonna be a jerk, then we'll just come up with something without him. I mean, we've got Ozpin with us. He usually knows what to do.
What is it?
That's your sister's house.
Everything we did was for nothing.
That's not true.
Really? Because it sure does sound like it.
If Salem can't be killed, then how are we supposed to win this?
There's always a way.
Wow. Great plan, everyone.
Okay, come on. I know you're pissed, but don't be at them.
Look, none of this is great, we know. But we're not the bad guys here.
Are we sure about that?
What the hell?
What?
He's in your head, isn't he? Did you already know about this?
No.
He didn't know any of it.
How much longer can we even trust him?
Hey.
How do we even know it's really him? What if we've been talking to that liar this whole time?
John!
Is he gonna be okay?
I don't know.
Are any of you?
I think it would be best if we had some time to ourselves.
Ooh, Ren's
Maybe
mad.
we could all use some space.
Don't leave, Oscar. That won't help. God, that's so pretty.
Come on, please.
Figures.
Where are you?
You know, I came out here to avoid the yelling.
You're valid.
Sorry. The others went to get food for tonight.
Why not go with them?
I don't know. I don't know anything. What do I tell Jean and his team when we don't even have a plan? The Crow's out drinking, the husband hasn't come back, and even if he did, I don't know if I could trust him. And there's always Jin, but we only have one more question we can ask her.
That's beautiful.
I feel like I'm letting everyone down.
It's not your fault.
You know, you don't give yourself enough credit.
Oh, thanks.
That wasn't a compliment.
What?
If I have to explain it to you, it'll just defeat the purpose. But if you're tired of not knowing anything, how about we discuss those eyes of yours?
Oh, yes, ma'am. I would be honored.
Sit back down, for Pete's sake. Let's start with what you do know. Tell me.
Silver-eyed people are supposed to be legendary warriors. Or something.
Hello, Bar.
And at the Fallout Beacon, I turned a giant wyvern into stone.
Oh boy.
Look, if I already knew everything, I wouldn't be asking for help.
Yelling.
That was like
It's not
Ray's
your
voice.
fault. I had my father to teach me. And even he didn't have all the answers. But what he told me makes sense, given what I've seen.
Was he a huntsman too?
It wasn't really an official title back in his day. I only knew him as an old soldier and an excellent teacher. I never attended one of those fancy academies of yours, but I scored higher on the license exam than any other huntsman or huntress that day.
Damn.
You must have been proud.
That's such a pretty shot.
He would have scolded me for showing off.
Sounds like
He'd
Tayang.
never been able to find much information about our abilities. Just legends of warriors whose eyes shone like mirrors, reflecting the light of the world onto darkness. He found so little, in fact, that it made him cautious. How could such powerful bloodlines be so rare? Unless something was actively seeking to destroy them.
Salem.
I tried to keep my powers a secret, but as you know, it wasn't enough. I owe my life to my training and my semblance. At the end of the day, those are still your most powerful tools.
What is your semblance?
silly name I came up with. Hard to explain, but I can sense everything better than most and react to attacks almost before they happen.
Mood.
Combine that with my training and secret ability to turn Grim to stone, or blind them, or vaporize them. And that's how you become the Grim Reaper.
So, how do I laser beam monsters with my eyeballs?
Oh, that was so cute.
First, you stop thinking like that. I want you to think of all the times you've triggered your powers. What did those moments have in common?
Desperation.
I was scared and stressed. Is it emotional? Like unlocking a semblance?
It's emotional, but more focused than that.
The Red Like Roses theme.
What is it you wanted?
To protect.
I wanted to protect my friends.
Precisely. It is the desire to preserve life which fuels the light inside you. And make no mistake, it is light. Preservation is an extension of creation, or at the very least, an enemy of destruction. The creatures of Grimm were made by the god of darkness, but your light comes from his brother.
Knew it.
How do you know that?
I always knew how to use the light, but never why it only worked on the Grimm. Then Jin showed us her vision. Were you paying attention?
The god of light vaporized. Called it!
The god of light. His eyes. Okay, where do we start?
Well, not here. The light will only work in the presence of Grimm, meaning the only practice you'll get will be a trial by fire. But what you can do is focus on creating a state of mind that you can tap into when you need it. Don't think about your light as a means of destroying evil, but as a way to protect the people of Remnant.
That's a gorgeous shot.
But that can't be right. You said the light only reacts to Grimm, but I used it during our battle at Haven. It reacted to Cinder.
Interesting. Perhaps there was something that you just weren't seeing?
Ruby!
Oh, hey, guys.
What's going on?
He's not back.
It's Oscar. He's missing.
That's right. Okay, so I don't know where the T-Rex came from then. God, that's just... That's gorgeous. The New Buck Guard, that's what they're called, okay. I really like this music track. That environment was just absolutely breathtaking. I think that just the ambient movement of the butterflies and the plants and vines crawling up the slatted wall. I have relatives that have porches just like that. That was a nice place for that conversation. I think they knew that they couldn't just have that in like a living room. They couldn't just have that conversation there. Yeah, so the reason the eyes worked on Cinder was because of the little bug that we saw in chapter 7 of volume 3. Volume 3 for sure, like the middle right after Yang punched Mercury. Because when the bug had slurped, I don't know of a better word, had slurped the maiden powers out of Amber, it had dissolved into Cinder, so there was that aspect of Grimm to her. That must have been why it worked. Over her eye. The one eye that had the fire before she got the full set of maiden powers, which is why that happened there, which is smart. Rip Cinder, her whole left side's just Grimm at this point, basically. I think it's pretty clear who those guards were. Very, very clearly that was kind of like a Queen of Hearts, Tweedledee Tweedledum situation, which was appreciated. I loved the animation on those two. It was very distinct and very different. I loved the very exceptionally cartoony quality of it, just the way that, like, they would lead with their pelvis and then their whole body would kind of follow, like, a wire, or, like, it's more, the follow-through was really nice. The follow-through was a real choice on that. And the animation on Ruby in the scene when she was talking to Maria was very nice. Very clearly they wanted to get her, Ruby, like, sitting on her knees like that, so they had her, like, on the thing, and then she got up, and then she got down, because they wanted her in that kind of training kneeling position. That was a really good way to have it done, too. I love her little, just, it was really subtle, because she has her hands like this, and she just this really small gesture, and, like, it's really small, but it adds a lot to her movement and just keeps her from being static. The butterflies were a nice choice. They were a very nice choice. The blue was a nice color contrast. It really kind of blended the two color schemes, because Maria definitely has a cooler color scheme. Ruby has a much warmer one. And, like, with the green of the background, I don't know, it felt like it added a quality of serenity to it that was really nice. And Silver Eyes were all moments of desperation and hopes of protection, when she had no other choice, no other options except to rely on an ability she didn't even know that she had. Shout out to Maria's dad for being a boss. I like Maria. I'm really glad that she's a character. Just, like, her reflexes are so, like, her semblance is cool. I like that not everyone's semblance is so distinct, I guess, or, like, so overtly magical, I guess. I can't think of, like, a good phrase for it, but my best guess is that semblances evolved out of what little magic was left of the human race after the two brothers extinguished all life. And so hers was, like, heightened reflexes. And then things like that eventually became, like, more passive abilities, like Ren's, and then eventually it became abilities like Ruby's, where you just have super speed. Or like Nora's, where you can't ever be electrocuted because you are lightning incarnate. I'm not as mad at Jean as I was expecting. They were all very visibly upset. I feel like how Team RWBY and how Team Juniper handle grief and situations like that are very different. Because of their own experiences, Team RWBY tends to reflect the blame onto themselves. They seem to internalize a lot of their anger. Yang being an exception. She does not often seem to internalize it. She has been doing that more lately, but they all more or less internalize whatever negative emotion they're experiencing to a degree. And it seems like Team Juniper Team Juniper isn't quite like that. Like, Ren would kind of internalize it a little bit, but that's just because he would internalize it, process it, continue. Nora would act, as Nora would and be kind of over the top, but we've seen from, like, volume 4 when she learns about everything with the maidens, she curls in on herself. Like, it's a matter of protection, but she eventually was like, what are we supposed to do here? Like, she doesn't put the blame on herself. She's more just kind of, like, protecting against outside forces. And Jean's always kind of been a little bit of a loose cannon in that regard. When faced with hardship and grief, he's always, I don't know what the opposite of internalized, like out-internalized is in the world. He always kind of casts his emotions outward. When he couldn't reach Pyrrha on his scroll, he threw it on the ground. When he wasn't getting schoolwork and when she was trying to help him, he yelled at her, like, no, I have to be able to do this on my own. And that's kind of continued. That's always just been an aspect of his character. Paranoia does not suit thee well, Jean. Like, I think he did kind of realize that he was not just barking up the wrong tree is not the right phrase, but beating up the wrong Oz, I guess. He kind of realized that it was the wrong one and that he took it a step too far. Still, don't punch your sister's wall. Maybe she's renting that house. She's gonna have to fix it. She's busy enough as it is. Also, where were they for this episode? Like, I'm guessing that Terracotta was at work. But where was Saf and their kid? But I think they did kind of need that moment to be alone and process. I like to think that Team Juniper was alone to process for a whole, like, 10 minutes, and then they all just subconsciously sought out one another and just had a giant sitting pile, like at the end of Volume 4 of just mourning everything that could have been. Poor Weiss. Like, I think RWBY's finally kind of starting to get a little bit of why Weiss doesn't want to go home so much. Like, just a little bit. Because again, like, I don't think any of them, except maybe Yang, really know the whole deal with her family. Because as I understand it, the only ones who really know is that Weiss had a, and I quote, a very unhappy childhood. Executives would go missing, and every night her father would come home furious. But that's very different from the story that she told Yang, which was very much like, when I was 10, my father finally told my mother that he didn't marry her because he loved her. Like, it paints two different pictures. One paints a family relationship with at least an older sister who seems to care, and a stern father. The other one paints a picture of a truly dysfunctional family with an alcoholic mother, a stern, if not abusive father, and distant family. Like, they paint similar pictures, but they're different, and at like the core emotion, the emotion at the core is different. And it was interesting when I want to call her Cordelia, I think is her name, but when she says, like, well, now if Miss Schnee has come to her senses, like, it seems like it was made very clear that Jacques was like, oh yeah, Weiss ran away, and made it clear that any high, like, ranking official knows that she ran away. Like, the public most certainly doesn't, but the generals know that this is an act of, like, rebellion, and are very eager to kind of put a stop to that. And her body language there was very well done. The body language of that scene I really enjoyed. I only really paid attention to it for Weiss and Blake, but if you notice how Weiss was standing, so usually when you stand, your feet are a little bit on the inside of shoulders width apart, usually a little bit less than shoulders width. Whenever Weiss is thinking too much, or she's correcting herself, like in Volume 1, like a feet forward, not that forward, whenever she thinks like that, or whenever she's kind of being discussed as an object or talking about home, her feet are very close together. They're completely pressed together. And that is definitely a subconscious act of trying to take up the least amount of space possible. That is, like, you want to disappear, you want to vanish, and having her feet be like that normal width apart, which, like, it's shifted after RWBY said, like, we're not going to leave you alone. Once RWBY said that and Crow turned to leave, you could see Weiss correct her posture to be a little bit more relaxed. But her feet together, her shoulders kind of hunched, she was very small. Like, it's a very submissive pose. It is very much a, I will do what I have to do what you wish. I'm, like, I exist as a pawn. That's kind of what that thing is. It's very much a do what you must, I will comply. So that was very well done. And the casual racism was well done. Because we haven't really seen too much of that. We've only seen Cardin really be Faunus racist. With bullying Velvet. And we saw like a sign that was like, no Faunus allowed. But besides a couple things like that, that's really the only examples of Faunus racism we've really seen, with the exception of Roman, who was already a villain, and Cardin, who was already a bully. So seeing it from like a high-ranking official was something that we probably needed to see. We kind of haven't seen it really clearly. The terms of how the Faunus are treated has always kind of been more shown, not told, in the RWBY universe. It was kind of nice having that, just her glance at Blake and her comment. And Blake immediately knows what that is, because she's experienced it time and time again. Just, I love how her ears were done. Like, it hadn't even occurred to me to rig the ears like that so that they could kind of curl inward like that, in very much like a shying away like gesture. Like, she, bow or no bow, she's still conscious. She's still aware that that's there. She's still aware that people will see her differently. And that was kind of like a prime example of it, where in her time alone with Team RWBY, I think for a moment she forgot what the world was like. So, I don't know where the T-Rex came from in my brain then. Maybe someone just did art of like a T-Rex grim. I was like, how is that gonna fit into the context? But don't know where that came from. So I guess Brightside, one of the spoilers I saw wasn't a spoiler after all. Watch it be next episode, and I'm just like, oh, okay, I understand now, but I'm still not over that garden scene. That's just gorgeous. I like these kind of change of pace episodes. Like I've said it before, I love domestic RWBY, and I love the fact that it's focusing on, it's these kids. Yeah, Crow's an adult, Crow's helping, but he's also not the most stable individual. Like, his alcoholism has evolved beyond kind of like the butt of a joke to very clearly it's a problem. Thus the intro in the beginning. Like, it's very clearly a problem, and it's something that RWBY's trying to help with, but he doesn't care. He's like, what's the point? We're all gonna, I think finding out from Jin that there's no way to kill Salem was kind of his last straw. Like, it was the straw that broke the camel's back. He's just like, what's the point? If we're all gonna die anyway, if this is all for nothing, I'm just gonna drink myself into a coma. That'll be less painful. Like, that's very much his mentality. And, like, he's even distant to RWBY, like, who's very clearly kind of his favorite niece. And you can tell that RWBY's kind of getting done with it. I'm just waiting for her to snap. Like, she hasn't really ever snapped at anyone, if I remember. Like, I think she's maybe done it, like, once or twice. Like, the closest we saw it was when, Volume 2, when the train breaks up into the middle of Vale. You can see, like, the horror on her face just slowly be replaced with determination. Like, and I feel like that would kind of be her reaction to it, is just, like, no. Like, because she keeps trying, but, like, she'll just fall back because he's not listening. And I feel like there's gonna come a point where she's like, no, you are going to stop. So, hopefully that'll come. I love Maria. I'm so glad that RWBY now has, like, a second mom. Because I feel like Maria has very quickly become, like, a maternal figure to her. She's like, ah, yes, you have, like, your mom wasn't here to teach you about Silver Eyes, because she probably had them. I don't know if RWBY's put that together yet. I am still kind of surprised that none of Team RWBY has been like, okay, well, the exact phrasing was, how do I kill Salem? So it's like, okay, Ozpin can't kill Salem. They haven't, like, considered, okay, they haven't gone over, like, alternatives to killing, like maiming, or imprisoning, or helping, or curing. And by helping, I do mean, like, changing her evilness, not, like, helping her end the world. Like, there's alternatives to murder. And I think they're kind of too stuck in the emotion to think about that right now, but they'll probably realize that in the future. They just kind of need something to kind of jog that part of their memory. Yes, I'm just waiting for that to kind of come and jog their memory. I imagine there's gonna be, like, I feel like something more is gonna happen with Weiss. That makes me nervous. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about this episode. I feel like this episode was just kind of a little bit more exposition, which worked well for the Silver Eyes, because we still don't know much about that. We knew what RWBY knows, which was, boy, I sure did turn that Grim to dust. I love her. Ruby's just so much just like, how do I shoot lasers out of my eyes? Like, it's easy to forget she's 16. Like, I love her. Unrelated note, so this comes out on Saturday, hopefully, but, so Christmas is this week. This should be out by then, hopefully. So Merry Christmas to all of you. Happy holidays if you don't celebrate Christmas. And I always kind of do these kind of messages at the end of the videos around the holidays. But, I know that the holidays can be kind of hard for people. If your family isn't great, if they're assholes, or if it just doesn't kind of feel like they care. It can be hard during the holiday season because, like, there's all these advertisements that have happy families bonding together over a Yule log or celebrating Christmas, and it can be really hard if you don't kind of have that family dynamic. So for those of you who do have a more difficult Christmas, kind of like that, it'll pass. It sucks. I know it sucks, but you can get through it. It takes time, and usually the week before and after Christmas tend to be bitter, and you want to just grind your teeth and yell at the world, but it'll pass. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again, and I'll say it again and again and again and again, but you choose your family. Blood doesn't matter. Not when it comes to family. You get to pick the people who you care about. And it's those people that you choose. Those are your true family, irregardless of blood. And if you can, those are the people that you should try to hold on to during this season, because they make it a little bit easier. But it'll pass. It always does. On a completely unrelated note, that has nothing to do with RWBY and nothing to do with the holidays, if y'all haven't had the chance, go see Spider-Verse. I was gushing about it on Twitter, but if you like animation, if you like cool fight scenes, if you like neat animation, if you like neat artistic styles, go watch it. It's genuinely so good. It's been so long since I've seen like an animated movie that didn't feel processed, because it definitely feels like for a lot of animated movies nowadays that it's like put on a conveyor belt and put out, and this did not have that feel. You could tell how much effort was into it. Like, you could see the comic book style shading on every subtle little shadow that they did, like the little dots or the systematic lines, and the soundtrack's a bop, and the animation is gorgeous, and each of the Spider-Man characters have a different style of animation, and it's wonderful, and it's beautiful and perfect. And please go watch it. I do have gripes with it. There are a couple things, but it's like, there's such little gripes. Like, my family doesn't go to the movies. My family just never goes to the movie theater. I actively sought out pre-bought tickets and was at the movie theater like 20 minutes early. And that, like, with reserved seats. I was sitting there early, just like, I was so ready, and it was so worth it. I want to go see it like 8 times, and this is someone who doesn't go to a movie theater ever. So, go see Spider-Verse. Drink your hot cocoa. If you turn the bottom part of your candy cane into a shiv like I do, please be careful. They do get very pointy. And if you stab your cheek, it does hurt. So, be careful. Enjoy the holidays. Don't burn your tongue on hot chocolate. And if you guys drink during the holidays, please be careful. If you chug that eggnog, drive safe. Don't die, please. That would suck. That would suck for everyone. So, yeah. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. I think there's not an episode between Christmas and New Year's, I think it was. I don't know for sure. So this might be the last one. Oh wait, no, I have one more episode, yeah. So, never mind. So, I'll see you guys next week then, in fact, because I think there's an episode. But I hope you guys have a wonderful week, a wonderful day. I hope you all enjoyed my cat climbing all over my life, because she does that. And hopefully you could see her behind the video. And I hope you enjoyed the floor of my bedroom.